Hello and welcome to Hixxy Studio. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this card. It's really quick, easy and simple. So we are using this stamp from Nellie's Choice. It's from the Idyllic Floral Scenes collection and it's called Lake with Rowing Boat. Lake with Rowing Boat. So this is what we're going to use, that stamp. And we're going to use the Julie Hickey sentiment stamps, everyday sentiment stamps. So let's get started. I am going to use, this is all I need. I've got my base card. I've cut myself a frame and I measured that sort of around the picture. Cut that out. And then I'm using cream card. It's not stamping card, it's just an ordinary sort of ivory card, foundations ivory card, but we're not doing major things with it, so it's fine. We're going to just use this one ink pad, ground espresso, and that's it. So I'm going to grab my stamping platform, which I've got the stamp in already, and I'm going to put my piece of card in, and we're going to stamp with the Distress Oxide because I want a water reactive ink, because we are then going to go over it with the water to create this really sort of sepia effect. So I'm just going to take that off there and I'm going to place this. I'm placing it in the middle because I want this frame is going to go over the top of it and we're going to cut around the frame. So it does almost does your matting and layering all in one go. So we're going to put our stamp there and down, and then we're going to just ink this with the ground espresso Distress Oxide. Now, Distress sort of inks, this kind of ink, and clear stamps are not the greatest of friends. Kind of, because it's water based, the polymer stamp almost tries to repel, but actually we don't need to worry too much about that. It's a fairly detailed stamp, but there'll be enough ink. The lines are quite small, so it's not like big areas that are trying to repel this ink. As long as we get a really reasonable coverage. I'm just looking like I've got a little bit in there. I've got the light shining on it and I'm not sure whether it's the light or whether I just haven't got the ink on. But what we'll do is we'll just pop it over and stamp it. I'm just going to now turn my piece of card over because I see I've got marks on there already. So we'll turn that over. And we're going to stamp that down. Now the good thing about using the stamp press is if it isn't, see it hasn't stamped brilliantly, I can go back in, I'm going to press, and if necessary, I'm going to re-ink. So put another bit of ink on and we'll have another go. And we'll get some more colour laid down on this. I think it's almost there. Just a few little bits. I would like a little more defined. Quite a sketchy stamp, so yeah, I think I'm a bit happier with that. Just a little bit there. Definitely much happier with that. Okay, brilliant. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to stick my little bit of paper back in, and any residual ink will just go on to my little bit of paper there for now. Okay, so that's the image stamped. So now I'm going to just get myself, not a pencil, I'm going to get myself a brush and some water. And this is all we're going to do, because this ink, Distress Oxide, Distress ink, you could do it with Distress ink as well, is water reactive. So all I'm going to do now is, I don't want a sopping wet brush, so I'm going to grab a piece of kitchen roll, because you can always go in with a little bit more water, but once you've got the water on, it's very difficult to sort of stop it from bleeding everywhere. So literally, I'm going to go in and I'm just moving the ink. And where you have sort of bits of ink, you're going to then get this lovely kind of sepia effect. So what I'm trying to do is follow the lines of the actual stamp. I don't want to start going up and down in this bit. I want to follow out, because obviously that's where the water is. And you see I've got a little bit of ink still on my brush. I'm just going to take that in to here. And in the foliage, I am literally just going to bring my brush up. I'm not worried if I'm sort of going a little bit off. I'm just kind of following the stamp lines, just bringing them out, giving them a bit more of a watercoloured look. Same down here, just kind of follow some of the lines of the grasses to give you that nice sepia look. We'll do the same with the foliage over here. Just literally bring your brush up. I had a little bit too much water on that, but not to worry. Try to go up rather than down, because when you bring your brush up and take it off, you get that nice sort of sharp point, rather than going down where you're going to get a thicker bit at the top, and you don't want the thicker bit at the top, you want the thicker bit at the bottom. Going back in here, just sort of going over these bits of ground. Now I'm going back in, and although I've got the little bits of grass like this, I am going to kind of do in this kind of direction to give sort of a horizontal feel to the ground. Where there are quite strong lines, I am going over in the direction that they are. Oh, too much water, you see. I've kind of flooded that little bit, but it's not the end of the world. Just try not to do too much. Wherever there is ink, you're going to start to pick up that colour. So, and then I'm going to go in on the boat, and again, I'm going to try to follow sort of shape of the boat. Now, too much water on my brush there, so I'm just going to try and dot that off a little bit. So just keep your brush damp, but not sort of soaking wet. And then just go in a bit more water into these bits here. Follow the shape of the boat. Make sure you kind of gone over most of it. There. That's pretty much all there is to it. Your image is done. You've got this beautiful sepia image, and now all we have to do is to mount that for a card. So you can see it's a really quick and simple technique that you can do with any of your stamps. I'm going to give this a bit of just a blast just to dry this off. So any of your stamps, you can use this technique with. Stamp them with a distress or any kind of water-based ink, and then just go over and move the ink with your water. And if you want to get really fancy, you can kind of ink up separate bits with different colours. But it gives a lovely kind of watercolour effect. So very nice, quick and easy card here. Once you get it dried, we'll mount it up. There we go. Right, so I have my little pre-cut. See, my card is buckled a bit. So at home, if you leave it to dry naturally, it tends to dry a lot flatter. So this is a little bit buckled, but we're going to keep going with it. The thing is with why card buckles is because it has moisture in anyway, and when we blast it with heat, we're not only blasting out the moisture that we've put on, we're kind of blasting out the moisture that is in the card as well. So I'm just putting this on, and because it's a bit wonky, I'm just having to watch what I'm doing here. Which is why it then decides it's going to buckle. When you do a full-on proper watercolour piece with watercolour paper, you tend to stretch paper first, which basically means dunking your paper almost, and then putting it on a board and allowing it to dry again before you add more water, and then it tends not to buckle. But hey ho, that is why card buckles. If you let it dry naturally, it would just sort itself out. So I'm going to use my guillotine to just trim off around my my little border, and I use this line, this inner line of the plastic, which is a little way in from the actual cutting, and then I know I'm going to get pretty much the same amount of border all the way around if I line my my frame up to that each time. So I have that cut, and then I'm going to mount this onto my card, and I'm going to put that on the card, and then I'm going to just tuck it under my board just to try and flatten it a little bit while we stamp the sentiment. So. Let's put that on like so. I'm going to try and give it a really nice press down, and then I'm going to stick him under there for a minute while we grab our sentiment. And we're going to use from here, I only wanted a little sentiment, so we'll use this. I've got birthday and I've got wishes. Now, yeah, you could use the big birthday, and on a there's another video with a different card made using the same stamp where I've used the big birthday and the small wishes. So this is what's really nice about this set, is you can interchange them. So let's we're going to stamp the sentiment because we've done everything. We've done the image in the distress. We're going to stamp our sentiment with the same ink. There we go. Push that down. That's our birthday wishes. Oh look, I didn't get it lined up, but that's okay. I'm going to stick that on to here. Little bit and pieces. That goes onto the little brown bit there, and then let's grab out our. It probably won't be completely flat. That's not bad though, considering how wonky that was. That's actually stuck quite well. So I quite often do that at home, or even if I've got longer, I'll put it between sort of boxes of card. Or if you've got any heavy boxes full of your dies and things, and it just helps to flatten it all out. Well, I'm moving that, and just put that there, and there we have our sepia card. Really simple, but really lovely and effective technique using our and I never know how, I always want to say it's the boat on the lake, but it's the lake with rowing boat stamp from Nellie's Choice from their Idyllic Floral Scenes collection. Thank you.